Bonafide Hustler here. What is going on? And it is about 10 o'clock on a Thursday here in Austin, Texas. I wanted to do a live show. 10 items that I sold on eBay, eBay, Amazon, or my antique booth. I was like, oh, Craigslist, right? Because I'm always saying Craigslist, but this one doesn't have anything Craigslist on it. But anyway, this is going to be a show where I show you pictures. These pictures are from early 2014. These are my actual pictures. And these are items that sold for good money on various platforms. So I do want to make sure that I sound good. We got 2 viewers in the house. If you're watching this and it's live, because it'll show a little button that says live, then you can comment on the video. Make sure I get this thing straight. You can comment on the video, and we can definitely have a little two-way discussion. That's one of the added benefits of coming to the live shows on YouTube, is that you can actually interact with the person across the screen. So I want to make sure I sound good, so let me know. And with that, I will shout out some people's names that appear in the comment feed. We got 4 viewers in here right now. Yeah, I just got back from California, so I hustled a little bit out there. I'll be making some California vlogs soon for my channel, and you'll get to check that out. Usually when I go to California, it's for family reasons, and I don't do too much hustling out there, but I still managed to do enough to where I can write off the trip and everything like that. So anyway, so yeah, some of these things, the very last item that I'm going to show you, I call it 10 items that I sold on eBay, Amazon, my booth. The truth is there's actually 12 items we're going to discuss, and the very last item is really, really cool. Like, I think maybe you'll know about it, maybe you don't, but it's a really, really nice item to know about, and it's something that you might be able to find out there. So 4 viewers in the house. I'll get started with the show. Let me know if you can see the screen share, because we're going to get right to it. And what's up, Andrew Alvis? Okay, so I'm going to do the screen share real quick. Let's make sure this goes down real well. And what can you guys see on the screen right here? Let me know. As long as we can see, the good stuff on the screen, then we'll be good. So let me get this to where I can see some comments in the feed as well, and then we'll be all right. Let me know if you can see this. Very important that you're able to see the picture on the screen. Let me know what you see. If everything goes right, you should be seeing a pair of hunting boots, right? Okay, so, and then you can see my little mouse pointer around as well. So these right here are Rocky 1,000-gram thin-insulated boots. I believe I bought these from a garage sale for like dirt cheap, $5 or below. Usually when I get into hunting boots, paying attention to a couple things, all right? So the very first thing is I want to make sure they're waterproof. And the second thing, I want to make sure that they, a true hunting boot for, I would say, well, maybe all season, but typically the fall-winter kind of thing is going to have insulation, right? And this one has 3M Thinsulate 1,000 gram. 1,000 grams, quite a bit, actually. A lot of hunting boots have 400 or something, so 1,000 is pretty decent to have in a hunting boot. This one right here, it was in great condition. If we look at it, you're going to see a picture of the sole and everything, or the undersole, and you're going to agree with Bonafide Hustler that this was a good buy at a garage sale. So let's take a look at another picture. I mean, look at the tops of these boots. Pretty nice. And go ahead and take a guess of what they sold for. It's not a whole look. It's not an absolute kill, but it's a good thing to know. Bread and butter kind of hustling. It definitely makes money, right? So here is something that says Gore-Tex, right? And this is how I know this thing is waterproof. Anytime you see Gore-Tex, waterproofing, or any of these kind of terms that say something, like it could be saying something dry, right? Like the brand name /dry. That usually means it's a waterproof boot. So you want to look for that Gore-Tex tag if possible. And look at the underside of this. I mean, this is crazy, right? The underside is so nice on these. This is what the inside kind of looks like. A couple little pet hairs, it looks like, nothing crazy. So take a guess on what this thing sold for. Andrew Alvis says, I'm reading the comment feeds as well. There's a comment from Andrew Alvis. It says, glad you're starting a show. Take a break from listing. That's right. So let me get a couple of guesses here on what they sold for. Like it's not north of 100. Very close. So Clearing Clutter for Clarity says they sold for 75. You're really close. So these actually sold for like $66.70 on eBay. And yeah, there's a good market for that. Just make sure you have an appropriate box. And usually when you have a box for these kind of things, this is one of the other things I want to let you guys know about. This thing likely weighs somewhere between the vicinity of 5 and 7 pounds. So the weight's going to be a little bit, yeah, you're probably going to be at that $10 range on shipping, maybe up to upwards of 13 to 14. But also, what's interesting to note is that if you can get a chance to lay these down and then you kind of puzzle piece the other one in a little Tetris kind of thing, you know, around it. You can get a little bit longer of a box, but then, you know, the dimensions, you want to make sure that the dimensions aren't terribly large in any way possible. And that's how you can get that $10 to $15 range. So do some experimentation. Sometimes if you have a perfect box where that can be upright, that's cool. But you want to basically make sure that your boxes don't have any super, super long, you know, dimensions, and you can get a pretty decent shipping rate. So yeah, they're very clean. Frankie Valley says, yeah, that's exactly right. What's up, College Picker? Good to see you. College Picker is really going to like the last one, but I don't think he'll have the time to stick around for the entire thing. So very busy people here at the Green Room. The Green Room admin staff is extremely busy, so I would not be surprised if you can't stick around very long. But you're welcome, Lucky. There's a lot of great comments in the feed, by the way. Thanks for hosting today. You're very, very welcome. Okay, so let's go to the next item. So hopefully you like that one. You know, garage sale find. So when you're dealing with hunting boots, these are good. Anything Danner, you know, even Cabela's, right? Because Cabela's basically paired up with Danner, and Danner is a great brand as well for hunting boots. There's so many different brands out there, dude. If you go to Cabela's or a Bass Pro Shops and you go into the hunting boot section, you're going to be astonished at how much these things cost in real life. Because a boot like this, that's like Gore-Tex, has 1,000-gram Thinsulate. You know, this brand is probably north of like a $200 boot. So anyway, you know, when it sells for $66, $70 in semi-used condition, I mean, there's no surprise why it has that actual, you know, resale value. So hunting boots with insulation and waterproofing, be on the lookout for that. All right, let's go to the next item right here. This one actually landed in my antique booth, right? Who knows what this stands for right here, the ACG? I mean, most people might know, okay, that's, you know, semi-retro. It's basically retro Nike. I don't know if I consider this vintage Nike, but like, it's definitely retro Nike. And of course, these little color combinations definitely look like retro Nike, almost reminiscent of, you know, old school polo sport kind of stuff. This is a windbreaker, right, with a little bit fleecy inside, but honestly, the fleece was so light. I mean, so thin to where I would never consider this a true fleece. This is more of a windbreaker. So, without College Picker answering, if he's still around, because I know he's going to know what ACG means. But what about you guys out there? Do you guys know what ACG means? And yeah. So Frankie Valley knows exactly what it means. It means all condition gear. That's right. So ACG is all condition gear, which is a, you know, kind of like this thing that Nike had back in the day. And ACG, they made ACG shoes and ACG hiking boots and all kinds of stuff. And jackets, right? All condition kind of gear. So it was like they're labeling the market in their own perspective way. You know, there's basketball Nikes, there's tennis shoe Nikes, then they have ACG Nikes, which I don't know if they still make ACG, but I know that you know, as of the 2000s, they were still making some, and they were like really, really they were horrific looking. But the ones back in the, like the late 80s and stuff, and super, super early 90s were actually pretty cool looking. So anyway, this thing sold in my booth for about $27 or something. I believe I got this at a garage sale for $1. If I didn't buy this at a garage sale for $1, I definitely bought it at a Goodwill for like $6. So still good turnaround. You know, if you watch our show yesterday on the Green Room Hangout, you know, this is clothing related, right? It's an amazing show. First of all, if you ever get a chance to watch yesterday's show on my channel, it's called Green Room Hangout, How to Sell on eBay. We disclosed the reason why having amazing pics with non-distracting backgrounds and good light matters so much. So this was shot on my driveway. You know, this is a pretty how do I say it? It's a very good background, right? You're not sitting there getting distracted and like looking at everything. Although it's a pretty sweet leaf right there, honestly. Let's be fair. That's a sweet leaf and a piece of a stick right here. But you know, you want to be able to show the jacket, yes, that it has a hood, very important. I like to cross the arms if I can, so that people can see the cuffs and everything. Because a lot of times when you hustle these things, there's going to be wear and tear sometimes on the cuff and close to the cuff, like in the wrist area. So you got to be careful. Look for that. You always want to look down here, because if there's any kind of wear, then it would be down here as well. You want to flip it underway, and that way you can see if there's any wear underneath. But for the most part, this was a very nice mint jacket, except for this one little thing. It had some little, almost like paint marks and everything like that. So, you know, very important to disclose this. I could try to get it out, but I'm not in the game to do this kind of stuff. I'm in the game to just hustle it as it is, and I'll let the buyer decide whether they want to get it out or not. Because if I decide to get it out, there are a couple things that are occurring here. One, I'm spending time into the product. And two, I chance damaging the product in the process, right? Unless I do it with some dish soap or something like that. But typically, if it's a hard paint kind of thing or something weird, you're going to want to get a little bit more aggressive. And the second you start getting more aggressive and more abrasive and you start using agents like cleaner agents, then you know what they all say on those bottles, like really test on a surface that you don't care if it starts bleaching it or not. Ooh, Zelda ringtone. Man, always some dumb call. Anyway, okay. I should probably put that on mute, right? Wouldn't that be the right thing to do, guys? Give me 1 second. Let me put this phone on mute. Being a content creator and everything on YouTube, man, I swear my phone's like by my side every 2 seconds. So, all right, and then here's really cool. I decided to shoot a picture of the bottom part where the zipper was, because the zipper is really neat. It's an actual swoosh zipper, which is cool, and you get to see truly, like, you can look at things like this, which is supposed to have a pretty decent amount of wear if someone wore it a whole lot, but it didn't really look like someone wore this a whole lot, because we still have, after all those years, I mean, the Nike swoosh here is got a little bit of scratches, but it's not terribly, scratched up. So this is a good one. No surprise why it sold for that much in my booth. Really cool. I was actually expecting a little bit more, but quite honestly, I'm still good with a ratio of like 1 to 4. I invest 5 in, getting about 20. Is it 26 or 27? This thing sold for something like that. But anyway, that's a 1 to 5, I guess, in my book. I like that. I'll take it. I believe this was a large. Yeah. So not too bad. And the funny thing is, I did consider putting it on eBay first. So, but I was just talking about the pictures because after I didn't put it on eBay, I decided to go to my booth with it. So these were intended to be eBay pictures. Then I did some research and I went to my booth. But you can kind of see that right here was the paint marks. And then we go to this next picture and it's a little bit more close up. You always want to describe stuff, even though this didn't make it to eBay, I was intending that it would. So, okay, so let's talk about something else. I want to shout out a couple people that are in here that are really, really positive people that have definitely helped me in my channel get to where it is. Oxus Attic, what is up? Thank you so much for being here. Lucky, Andrew Alvis, Frankie Valley, College Picker, who's that guy? Clearing Clutter for Clarity, Victoria Smith. Yeah, so thanks for coming here, guys. And if you do want a shout out, just write your name, write something real quick. I'll see it. So. That's right, you get to get shouted out by the Bonafide Hustler, although it's just more like a speak out, not because if I start shouting out, then I don't think I'll have many people watching anymore. Okay, so let's go into more screen share here. Hopefully you guys are seeing everything. All right, so this pick, this was also intended to go to eBay, but it didn't. Fantastic internet. Let me make 100% sure this one didn't go to eBay because I wanted to show this picture because it's important to, but let me type this into my email. So one of the things that I do is I tend to take, I kept all my pictures from, except for like one camera. One camera got stolen when I was in California, and it had some pictures on it. But for the most part, I have pictures of just about everything I've hustled, with the exception of like the very, very first camera for like maybe the first couple of hustles I ever did. But I have most of everything. So let me see if I can, if this one, I don't think this one sold on eBay, but I'm not, let me make 100% sure. I believe this went to my booth, but I find so much of stuff that's, oh no, I think it did go. Oh yeah, it did. Okay, so this was a size 42 Fantastic International jacket, sold for $59.99. This one right here, I know this was a $10 jacket at Goodwill. So when I look at this, the first thing that came to my mind, honestly, was Matthew McConaughey, because, see, I live in Austin, Texas, and I've actually seen the guy a couple times, and so he's known to go to the UT games with a jacket that looks like this. But anyway, this is very Matthew McConaughey-ish. It's almost retro. It's got a little bit of a vintage look to it. Very, very cool looking, right? And of course, it's selling on eBay. There was one just like this that I sold in my booth, so when I get a little confused, please excuse me. When you're dealing with these kind of jackets, you want to scan. You want to check all the buttons. That's cool. Even though it's not a super deal killer, right? Because these are just wood buttons, nothing crazy. You want to scan this thing up and down for crazy abrasions and all that kind of stuff. But for the most part, when you're dealing with something that's this cool, it's very pimp, it's very like Starsky and Hutchie kind of, then you want to be able to take close-ups of, certain things that might alarm a customer. And as stated before, I could have cleaned this. I could have, but I decided not to, because who knows? I don't want to take the chance of ruining the item. So, good condition. I always want to take care. You get your bottom pick right here, and this was taken on my gym floor. So very non-distracting background, good lighting. you always take a picture of the sleeves and everything like that. There were definitely like, what, 6 more pictures. I just wanted to show you the item right here. But you kind of get it. If you looked at yesterday's show that we did, you always want to get a picture of the tag too, whenever you get a chance. So show the tag. Of course, when I opened this, thing up and it said size 42, was likely in the little inside coat pocket kind of thing. So $59.99, good turnaround right there. I like to put these things in bags, right, poly bags, and then I still pad the box up with bubble wrap. And then what I do, honestly, on things like this, I put a cardboard shield right on top of the unit right on top of the jacket before I decide to close up the box, because if someone razor blades the box, then they're pretty hard with their blade. I mean, they risk hitting the actual leather in the item, right? Snagging it on a blade, boom, they open the box and it's like they've cut through the poly bag. I tend to put a cardboard shield on the top part at least. So it just makes me feel better, and I haven't got any weird feedback, so that's good. Maybe someone has tried to razor blade through the whole thing and they hit the cardboard shield, and that's what saved the jacket. That's what saved my sale. You never know, right? And it takes literally 2 seconds to do. You just have to think on the lines of not everyone opens a box maybe like you or I do, right? Where I'm real careful. Some people might just go crazy Tasmanian devil on a box, and before you know it, the jacket's ruined, right? So be careful. But yeah, nevertheless, something to always, hustle. This would do really well in my booth as well. I could probably have sold this in my booth for $36, $45 pretty easily. My guess is the fact that it was in, what's the date on this picture real quick? I wish I could show it. It's sitting on the back here. Anyway, it's probably late February. So we're getting out of the reason why I probably picked eBay on this one is it's coming out of the winter time, right? And so right around late February and March is where it starts turning, the weather turns, and these kind of jackets aren't the smartest thing to put in your booth at that point. So anyway, especially for $11 being into it. So I wanted, my thought process likely at that time was move it on eBay. If I had been any less into the item, let's say $1 or $2 from a garage sale, then yeah, maybe I would have just stuck it on the booth for the most part. Okay, so we got some more. We got some more comments coming in. We got some more really cool people in here. Pittsburgh Mike is in the house. Gym floor. This guy doesn't even work out. I'm a string bean. This guy's calling me all kinds of names, man. Oh my gosh, this dude thinks that I don't lift. This is not good. Yeah. Okay, so that's that. Lucky is in the house. Anyone in the feed flipping Bob Revolution strollers or dualies? I've done it before. Lucky, if you watch some of my previous shows, you'll know that I've talked about Bobs and all kinds of stuff. In fact, it's on one of the episodes of the 10 things I've sold on eBay, Amazon, Craigslist, right? Because on that show, I made sure to put Craigslist in the title, because when I flip a Bob, I mean, I've probably flipped damn near 30 or 40 of these things, and one Bob went to eBay, and one that was called a baby jogger that I found in box and everything, that one went to eBay too. But for the most part, all of my Bobs I've ever hustled have been local to local. So I buy them at a garage sale, sell them locally. I buy them at a little outdoor swap thing and sell it locally. Or I'll buy it at a Play It Again Sports and I'll sell it locally. So you don't really want to miss with shipping on Bob strollers, especially the dueling ones, which are like the double kid ones. But yeah, if you're hooked on Bobs, you're in the right direction, man. I found out about Bob Revolution strollers a long time ago. This was one of the earlier things that I've hustled in my time, and they're not exactly super easy to find, but when you find them, and you know your market, right? Because if you're living in Austin or Denver or Miami, any of these towns that have a decent amount of, so you'll find a lot of Bob strollers in towns that have, hold on real quick. If I'm just going to talk, I may as well just, you guys may as well just see me. If you guys are going to be finding Bob strollers, you want to find them in places where the town has a pretty decent outdoor atmosphere, or it has some gigantic walk path through the town or something like that. People that buy the Bob strollers are typically active type people that want to get out of the house. They're into yoga a lot, right? They're into bar, and they're mostly women that buy them. And they're very much like kind of Air Jordans, right? One lady gets a Bob, and she can't stop raving about the Bob. The next family buys it, and everyone starts buying a Bob because, lady down the street has a Bob. So it's very it's almost like an UGG boot, right? They're just really well built. An UGG boot's really warm, so Bob's really not warm, but it's just a staple kind of thing, right? So yeah, if you ever get a chance to hustle a bob, just remember that, you know, if you're living in Podunk, Washington town or something, let's say for example, and you're 2 hours away from Seattle, it might not be the best town to hustle the bob in, right? But if you're living in Seattle, for example, you know, huge outdoor town, huge walking paths everywhere, then yeah, different story. Then probably hustle the bob. So, because the reason why I say that is a bob is usually never cheap. When you go to a garage sale and you find a bob, I don't think I've ever found a bob less than 40 bucks at a garage sale. But when I go to a Goodwill, I've found bobs for 20, 25 bucks, you know. Sometimes I found one not too long ago, like less than 4 months ago or something. I just popped in on a Sunday because if you're next to a Goodwill, if you are passing up a Goodwill and you got time on your hands and you just fly by it, you're dumb. That is such a dumb move. You got to go in, okay? So I go into a Goodwill, boom. My wife stays in the car, right? And she's like, you hurry up. I was like, okay, whatever. So I go in there and I come strolling out a bob that was like $12.99 that I flipped on Craigslist for like 150 bucks. That's the reality of the matter with a bob stroller. I mean, people are thinking they're getting crazy deals at 150, and you're like, dude, I just found this thing for 13 bucks, you know? So great thing to hustle. So I went on a little bob tangent. Sorry, but it's that good of a hustle. You guys have to know about it. Okay, mother's mustache, no comment, hee hee hee. Okay, what is up? 23 people, 24 people. If you do like the content so far, please hook me up with a like. Looks like one person didn't like it. I will find this person and I shall kill them. No, that was like a line from the Taken movie, but yeah, if you don't like the content too, you can obviously dislike the video, but I aim to make it engaging, fun, and yeah. So, okay, let's talk about the next thing. Let's get back into the screen share real quick, because I got some items I want to teach you guys about. All right, so there's the pimp jacket right there. You can all see that. All right, so these right here, this is like, you know how you like deal with Amazon FBA and you have like long-term storage fees and all this kind of stuff? This pair of glasses right here, I kid you not, took 1.5 years to sell. I sold them recently. These were bought in, well, maybe even longer than that. Now that I think about it, this could be even 2 years long. But I bought these glasses for like either 25 cents or $1, right? And they sold for like 18 bucks the other day. Not the other day, but like the other week or something. I remember seeing them because I don't have very many of these glasses in my booth. They tend to sell well. For some reason, this pair just, I don't know what it was, it just didn't sell fast, right? But let's think about it on a stock trading sense. Would you invest $1 into a stock that was going to return you, $17, right? $18, but I'd make 17 profit. Would you invest in that? Would you try to get 100 shares of that or 1,000 shares of that if it converted in 2 years? So the question, it's a question of ratios and it's a question of risk, your risk tolerance. Now, I got to tell you right now, anytime you get a chance to invest $1, wait it out for 2 years and get close to 20 bucks, that's a really smart deal. That's a good deal in my book. So that's another reason why the booth is a really interesting thing for me to be messing with. And I like it because this took literally no time to pick up. I found it at a garage sale, get $1, slap a tag on it, and I never see it again. Well, that's not true. I mean, I see it every time I was in my booth, but I never truly have to mess with it again. I don't have to mess with a customer return or anything because everything in the booth, I've sold thousands of items in the booth. And honestly, there's only been like 1 or 2 returns over the span of like 4 or 5 years. I mean, so I don't really, consider returns being any part of this game. But if you ever get a chance to get an antique booth close to your house, which will usually be in an antique mall, I get that question a lot on my YouTube channel. Like, what the hell is an antique booth? Look, go around your town and explore a little bit. Of course, this kind of stuff has really nothing to do with eBay or Amazon. Antique booth type stuff is a little bit more collectible. Sometimes it's larger than normal stuff. Sometimes it's dirty, dingy. They call it like rusty gold, right? Most of the stuff that's in a booth is kind of like rusty gold. But my booth in Austin, Texas is in a mall that's super popular, and it's been there forever. And there's a huge waiting list to get any booth in the antique mall that has good exposure, right? Because booths come up on really weird, dark sections of the mall, and I don't want to I'm actually in a good booth with a corner slot, well lit, in the most visited part of the mall. So I like that. I pay rent, right? I pay rent for my booth. I don't have to sit there ever. I don't have any commitments to be there. All I have to do is just keep it stocked, keep it clean, and things sell, right? People have the freedom of going into my booth, looking at my stuff. If they like something, they just bring it to the very front, and the front cashier will know because of the tag which booth in the mall it came from, right? And the way I get compensated is, for what it sells for minus 10%, because they take a 10% commission on top of the rent that they charge me. So yeah, when you look at this, a sale like this makes all the sense in the world. I can't tell you how many items that are like this flip that I have sitting in the booth right now. But they also obviously flip way, way better than this one did. I was just so surprised that this one took so long to flip. But I don't know what you call these type of glasses, but I call them, old style, almost 70s kind of glasses or something like that. Very, very vintage sunglasses. And there they are. So look for things like this if you ever have an avenue to sell them in, such as a booth. I'm going to do a really quick, we're on the next item right here. I believe this is one of those things I can't remember if it's sold in the booth or it's sold on eBay. So I am going to look this up real quick. I believe this was a Tony Lama belt. Let me see. I'll tell you right now if it's sold on eBay. Oh, it did. What should I get for this sucker? I knew it. Okay, so I had a sneaking suspicion this thing was what it was. All right, so I bought this at a Goodwill for $5, right? I don't ever, when I get a chance and I'm like really hunting through a Goodwill, because sometimes I'll just like pass right through it and I'll go to all my favorite sections and I'll jet, right? But sometimes I start hunting. I'm like, all right, if my wife or whoever I'm with is taking a little bit longer than normal, then I'll start looking a little bit harder than normal too, right? That's just what you should do. You shouldn't be sitting there bored. You should be starting to go through the ties and going through the belts and going through all the other stuff that you probably wouldn't have gone through in the first place. But, I have decent knowledge of a bunch of things. And so this right here is a little Western belt that you would wear like a rodeo or something like that. I believe that's either ivory or bone. And it's nice. It's a little leather / ivory bone belt, size 28, sold for $30 on eBay. If I'm in it for $5 and this thing weighs on a first-class rate, likely it's shipped for somewhere around $2.50, and my cost for doing the auction plus anything or to buy it now was somewhere in the vicinity of $3.50. So you can kind of see it's a pretty almost a $20 profit right there, or $20 in my pocket. So thus being a $15 profit. I invest $5 and I get 20 out, minus the 5, blah, blah, blah. So I've converted my 5 to about like $14. It's not bad. That's okay, right? And it was a little bit more of an experiment. I was like, we'll see. I know it's worth more than the $5, so that's why I bought it. Pretty cool. I would much rather try to find this thing at a garage sale for like $1 or $2, of course, and then hit the $30 sale, and then it makes more sense at that point. But if I see something I want to hustle and I see a first-class rate, I get really excited. Why not? This is also back in 2014 when my rule was like not the $20 rule, which was in 2015, and now I'm like my rule is like I don't mess with things that I really, really try to mess with things that will pay me north of $30, with limited time that I have. So yeah, this was definitely within my rule at that time. This is a 2014 picture. We go to the actual comment feed right here. Shout out some people that are in the feed. What is going on? Here I am. I'm back. Got some more people in the feed. We have Mr. Albert Lopez. The lady and the baby on the hangover movie use those glasses, LOL. What's up, Jerry T? Good to see everyone. We have Educated Trading Company. What's up, Bonafide? What's going on with Educated Trading Company? Okay, so now I will go back into the share thing. Man, isn't the digital age so cool? Look at this. Okay. Here. These two, let me give my little refresh here, that these definitely were garage sale finds. Okay, so these two I found at a garage sale, and what's interesting about these two, well, let me make 100% sure. This could have been a Goodwill find. Now that I think about it, no, these were definitely garage sale finds, because I know on a Goodwill I wouldn't have found it this mint and everything like that. All right, so these are basically motorcycle helmets. Garage sale find. I believe if my memory serves me right, I paid $20 for each of these. So these are showy helmets right here, motorcycle, crotch rocket type motorcycle helmets, or even Street Fighter motorcycle type helmets. So yeah, definitely great brand, showy, up there with Suomi, Arai, AGV, all these other great brands. There's me taking a picture of it. Oh, look, I have an FJ Cruiser. It's in the background. This is like way back in the day. But what's cool about this is this one it came with 2 screens, right? It came with a clear screen and a smoke. Actually, more like a iridium smoke, right? Because it has like some really good reflection on there. And definitely, I guess Oakley would call this iridium. I call it, I don't know, reflective. But yeah, so you want to, if you find these at garage sales, you'll find them in this condition, right? You'll find a visor, and usually you'll find another visor with it. It's just what happens. Now, the visor is not exactly very expensive, but when you bundle the 2 things together, it kind of makes sense to someone that's like, well, now I don't have to buy a visor, a clear one or a smoke one, because this one comes with both. So, yeah, this type of helmet right here, God, when I look into my, oh man, my solds of Shoei helmets, there's a fair amount of them because I have hustled a good amount of Shoei helmets. But let me see if I can locate this one real quick for you. Shoei helmets. God, I've done so many Shoeis, it's ridiculous. Counter offer of $149 for one Shoei. RF1000, men's medium, black glossy talons. No, it's not that one. Okay, but anyway, rather than look at what everything is sold for, I'm going to tell you right now that this one, confidently, I can tell you right now, sold for north of $100. I mean, this is, this has to be, yeah, definitely north of 100. That's just being conservative, because likely this one sold closer to the 200 mark because it's got graphics on it. And then something that has no graphics like this would sell for, yeah, now you're closer to the maybe 80 on a local Craigslist kind of thing, and then north of 100 on actual eBay. This is the RF1000, which I was just looking at the listing of a black RF1000 that I had sold for $149. So this one definitely, at the same time, confidently, I can assume this one sold for over $100 as well. You buy it for 20 or less, and they're in this condition, because clearly condition matters when it comes to these kind of things, right? Not a whole lot of scratches on the visor. You look around the entire helmet, it is in like really, really good condition, right? So I'm gonna throw you guys through a helmet check real quick, because for some people that are watching this video, it might be like, okay, I have like zero thrill on messing with helmets, right? If you could tell me something to look for, some kind of check, maybe I'll start getting into them. All right, so the very first thing I'm gonna let you guys know about are brands, right? Four distinct brands that you should definitely be looking for. Maybe even 5, but the 5th one is kind of iffy. But the first one is Shoei. This is a great brand of motorcycle helmet to be messing with. It's been around forever. The other one is called Arai, A-R-A-I. You want to be looking at that. It's a little bit harder to find than a Shoei. Then even harder than that is one called AGV, right? Real cool. Always usually has Italian colors on it and stuff. After that one, even more harder to find is one called Suomi, S-U-O-M-Y. Really hard to find those kind of, I mean, look, really hard. You'll see them at pawn shops all the time and stuff like that. When you come into a garage sale and stuff, someone's laying out a Shoei or, a Suomi or a AGV or an Arai. I mean, typically they remember what they spent for the helmet, first of all. And so they kind of ask like a high price for it. So when these are like 20 bucks at a garage sale, dude, I got crazy excited about it, because like this is like super good find. Now that you know the good brands, and oh, by the way, the 5th brand is called Icon, but Icon makes some really crappy helmets too. So just be real careful with the Icon brand. So on this helmet, what's the check you want to do? First of all, you spin the helmet around, make sure it has no cracks. So important, because if it's involved in a wreck, and it had a really hard impact wreck, but let's say it didn't have road rash type of impact, it just had a hard impact, boom, you have to take a look inside, make sure foam's not cracked and all that kind of stuff, or you don't see any evidence of anything cracked. You have to use your eyes very carefully and make sure that none of the helmet has been cracked from an impact. Second of all, road rash, right? Kind of a common thing to see on some of these helmets. If you see road rash, it's not the end of the, if it's a small amount of road rash, it's not the end of the world, but you want to get in super cheap, like 5 or less. Road rash is, for people that, some people out there just want a helmet for like the second rider, right? Usually it's a girl behind them, right, in the bike. Then they don't care if it has road rash. They're just like, look, most people that mess with motorcycles are on like serious budgets. They're like wanting to buy things as cheap as possible, but they want cool looking things. So now that we can look at the check on here, we know it's a great brand. We know that it's in terrific condition. The third thing you want to check are these little vents. See? Okay, so it has these little air vents right here. So you can press this thing down, you can bring it up, and it'll let air that's coming from the front get into the helmet, right? Cool you down. Same thing with these. These are slider vents right here. You slide them down and up, and it opens a little hole that cools your head down. So you want to make sure that the slider things work. Very, very important. Third, maybe the fourth thing. I can't remember if I'm the third thing or not. But see where this thing anchors? See where this smoke screen? Some of the helmets are going to have, there are two different types of anchoring system you're going to find out there. One is like this, where the actual anchor has like a little, if you look at this, where the actual, the screen has like a little anchor right there with those little gear looking things right here. Because underneath this is a thing where you place that into, it's like a cog almost, and then this one right here allows the helmet to be up in, almost 6 different positions before it's fully open in the front. So you want to make sure that that thing internally is not busted, although they do sell replacement parts for it. The second type of mounting mechanism for the screen is a kind of like, it looks like a little cover, all right? It looks like a tiny little half circle, and it'll be right around here. Some helmets use it and some don't. You want to make sure that the helmet has those covers on it, because if it's not, then it's basically exposing all the stuff underneath. And the covers are very integral on keeping the actual screen going up and down and not flying off the side. So if you see it like this, that means that all these little internal cogs and gears are under there. I call them cogs and gears. They're not, but like that's how I like to refer to them. You can see this one does not have a cover on the side, but some will, okay? So just know that, and you want to find that cover. Of course, every helmet that's really, really decent and expensive will have a rear vent too, right? So there's a rear vent. You want to test that out. And this one doesn't have the side cover either, but it has front vents, slider vents, vent here, and vents in the back. I believe the back had a vent on this one. I don't know if it opened though. Okay, so either way, there's your education on Shoei helmets. The last check, the very last check is look into the helmet and make sure it's not roasting, it's not roasted out, and it's not like, how do I say it? That the spongy material is not flaking. Very important, because you'll see that a lot too. So be really, really careful. But they ship pretty cheap, because it doesn't have any long dimensions. So they're, for me in Austin, Texas, and in the middle part of the country, this is a $10 to $15 ship. And yeah, great markets too, man. If you go on eBay and you look at sold Shoei and sold Suomi and Arai and Icon and all these, man, AGV, huge markets for these kind of things. I mean, it's a very liquid type thing to be messing with. And liquidity is great when you're a hustler, okay? That means should you choose to get out and you want to take a little bit less ROI, boom, you can be out in like a day, an hour. When you're dealing with something that's less liquid, that doesn't have that much of a market, then you have problems. And that means when you need cash, if you ever do, which, hopefully you don't, but, if you ever need to get out of an item, it's a lot harder to. Now, that's not the case with these helmets. They're always going to be liquid. All right, going back to the actual feed here. We're getting halfway through the show. We have Jerry T. This is an unfortunate comment. It says, I can't sell helmets anymore. I lost my ex-hub in a motorcycle accident a few years ago, and I get too emotional when I see one. I'm sorry about that. Picking hard for the money. Says, I've sold 2 helmets recently. Congratulations. Nick's Dynasty shipping priority mail would be good for helmets. It just depends on your setup. It depends on how you want to run your business, because anytime you ship priority is always good for the buyer, and it always will help you get great feedback, right? But if it cuts into your ROI too much, then that's not a great idea. But you have to make the decision on how to proceed with that, because let's say Smart Post or FedEx 3-day, it could be cheaper than your your priority. Like, it's probably going to be cheaper sometimes. It just depends on where it's going. Like, for me, any adjacent state to Texas is going to be priority for me. Anything outside of the adjacent state, for a box that's as big as a helmet, maybe. Yeah, I'm starting to think FedEx and 3-day and Smart Post and all that kind of stuff. But like, look, Nick's Dynasty is asking, anytime that you ship anything priority or anything faster than normal, that's always a good thing for the buyer. Let's face it. For you, it's usually not a good thing, because it cuts into your ROI a little bit. It's not a whole lot. You're messing with a motorcycle helmet, it's not going to be a whole lot. It might be a difference of $1 to $5, right, at most. Jerry T, aren't they pretty heavy? Maybe FedEx or Smart Post. There you go. So no, they're not very heavy at all. I mean, picking hard for the money. Yes, I shipped both FedEx. Nick's Dynasty. Okay, cool. Sounds right. Mr. Albert Lopez. Okay, bona fide hustler time for my run. I'll catch you on the sell on the move. Yeah, man. Good to see you. Good to hear about you, Mr. Albert Lopez. Have fun on that run. And Andrew Alves, I'm still here cleaning up stuff. Cool. Okay, so I've gone through my comments. Let's go back to the screen share. I'm telling you, this last item, guys, the last item, you got to stick around for it, okay? It is worth it. It's an awesome item. It's an item I bought for, well, I can't tell you the selling price, but I bought it for $5, and it's really, really, really cool. Because I'm going to want you guys to guess the selling price. It's going to be a good one. So we're getting close. We're getting close. So let's get back to the screen share. It's got all these helmets. This hat right here, if I'm not mistaken, this was a $3 hat that sold for $30. You know, and I'll tell you why it sold for $30. It's very interesting. But let me put this into my eBay real quick. I mean, my mail Epcot. It's like the only Epcot thing I've sold. Let me make sure. $29.99 with $2.59 shipping. Okay, so yeah, this is a good one to talk about, and it's very important because I bought this thing for like what? I think it was either $2 or $3. Okay. It's an Epcot Center hat. It was at a Goodwill, not exactly super close to my house. It's actually not the greatest neighborhood either, right? But this thing, let me look at it, right? It almost is reminiscent of a Navy hat, right? Or a Vietnam vet hat or something like that. It's got the cool little feathers, I don't know, leaves. But it's got that Epcot logo. You could even argue that it's a vintage logo or a retro one. Let's get a closer look at this thing. And just by looking at it, you can kind of tell that there's really no wear on this thing at all. I mean, look, right? There's like no creases, crinkling, nothing, none of that stuff. I mean, this thing was in really good condition, right? Look at the interior. There's not even any hair. There's no signs of it that this thing's even really been worn. And there's the sweat part right there. Don't see anything. All right, so non-distracting background, right? Very important. This is on my wood table in my kitchen. Looks pretty well lit for you, with the exception of this last picture. But I think everyone got the point real quick. So. Yeah, it sold for $30, and you know it's an easy $20 in my pocket, no problem. And it's the kind of stuff you got to be looking for. Trucker hats with really good subject matter will definitely always sell for good money. I could have easily got about $20 for this in my booth as well. It was such good condition. I was like, all right, that's it. It's going to eBay. I'm just going to try, and of course, it sold really quickly. You know, within a couple days, and I basically just put a bunch of bubble wrap in a box, and it was still light. It shipped out, you know, $2.59, and off it goes. So look out for things like this. It was neatly sitting on top of a Goodwill rack, and it wasn't crushed. I don't know how your Goodwills are, but like if I go to certain Goodwills in town, man, all the hats seem to be like all stacked upon each other and crushed and flattened and everything. So this was quite a surprised to see this one. And if you're in the green room, by the way, I had a really amazing hat flip that I bought for like, let's say $5, and I think I sold it for 80 or 90 bucks. It was anyway, if you're in the green room, you probably know about the hat I'm talking about. It was red. It had to deal with a sports team. But yeah, maybe one day we'll get to those pictures here for this free show. But yeah, you want to get into hats, any kind of this really interesting subject matter, and mintness, then yeah, you might want to be thinking eBay. I know, that's what's up, Jerry T. Cool hat. I just bought 12 hats for 99 cents a piece on the eBay liquidation sale. Awesome. Should at least make 200 on that. Yeah, that's sick. Jerry T, I want to see those pictures. I want to see some of these. I want to see some of these pictures for sure. If you can get with me on Bonafide Hustler Facebook, not because I want to buy them, of course. I just want to see them because I love the trucker hat stuff, and I just love that. I think it's really cool and fascinating, and I get so jealous sometimes about people's trucker hat finds because I'm a huge, you know, I like trucker hats. I just like them. I like wearing them, and if you watch my YouTube videos, I mean, I have a trucker hat on all the time, so I like it. We got Quack, we got Viet Pride, yes sir. What's up, man? Good to see ya. Okay, let's go down to the next thing. Let's sold my booth right here. Look at this wild sucker. Ladies 14. What are the chances that I put this thing on and took a couple pictures just for the hell of it? You think it's high or low? What do you guys think? It's a women's ladies 14 jacket. You think there's any chance I put this thing on in the master bathroom of my house on a quiet afternoon and just took some pictures with it? What are the chances, right? Anyway, I was just making some stuff up, or was I? So definitely, what's the main thing you guys see in this picture? What's the main thing that pops to you? I mean, why did I buy this jacket? For, if I'm not mistaken, this was a $10 jacket, yeah. And the funny thing is, I bought it during Halloween. This was sitting on a Halloween rack because I guess people want to look like little goofy Dumb and Dumber, you know, Aspen going down a mountain people. But this is a wild color. The color is nuts. Nick's Dynasty, you're right. The jacket is ugly. Cream glitter for clarity. Look, it's definitely ugly, right? And like Nick Dynasty said, there's a high chance I probably put it on, took pictures with it. That's right, Jerry T. I did it. But yes, the color. So this did sell in my booth for like 30 something, 35 about 6 months ago. So this is another one of these finds that was like, it took a year to sell. But that's okay, right? I was 10 into it, selling for about 35. That's not too bad. I would have liked to have picked it up for cheaper at, like, let's say a garage sale or something. But quite honestly, I'm always on the lookout for these things, okay? These are vintage ski jackets or vintage ski tops and bottoms. This would be considered the top because the bottom would be the bib and everything. Obermeyer is a great brand to be looking into. There's also another one called Tyrolia, which is really cool. There are just a bunch of them, but Obermeyer is really good. Obermeyer is known for having like really wild colors. So look out for this kind of stuff. And you know, I think I bought it at the time of the year where it was gonna be the winter, but it wasn't the winter yet. And I just stuck it in my booth because I really thought it was gonna sell for, you know, good money. And then, you know, things happen in a reseller life where, you know, like, okay, I should probably go to the booth and pick up that jacket or a couple of things and double list them on eBay. But then, you know, things get so crazy that it slipped my mind. And of course, a year goes by. It's what it takes, you know, to sell a thing. But it's what it is. Not everything's perfect in resale life, but if you can make some of your purchases pretty good, then you'll be all right. So there we go. Very nice color, very good condition. Yeah. All right, this one definitely sold in my booth. I believe this was 5 months to sell. I bought this at a garage sale, I want to say for $1. It sold for like almost 38 bucks in the booth. This thing's like super bitchin'. Look at this. Am I the only person that thinks this is cool? Come on, clearly this is actually pretty cool. And it's not because I'm from Texas or anything, but it's just got that whole members only look. It's super dorky, and it even has this like collar belt thing, right? It goes around the collar. It's so dorky. Like this thing's like screaming, you know, like almost like Steve Jobs back in the day kind of thing. But yeah, it's a vintage TI or retro TI jacket. Yeah, I mean, it had good, you know, TI is definitely in this town. I mean, one of the main offices is here. So maybe some like dude was like, that's it, I'm showing up to Jeans Friday with this dorky ass jacket, right? So you never know. But anyway, very, very, very cool. Maybe my eye is the only thing that like thinks this is cool. Maybe I'm just the only thing. But I think it's neat. I mean, it was a ripoff of members only. Totally. It could even have been licensed by members only for all, you know, who knows? Sick though, totally awesome. When I opened it up, it actually was my size. That's the crazy part. Dumbass Bonafide decided not to keep it. I mean, I'm happy with the $37, you know, profit, but you know, honestly, this is the kind of thing I could have worn repeatedly all the time for many years and still gotten, you know, $37. And I, you know, I can't tell you how many things in my life plays out like that, where I just wear it and I use it or whatever, and I sell it for the same amount of what it sold for. You know, when you're dealing with things like this, the market just gets more stable, arguably sometimes better down the road because it's harder to find. And I can't tell you, I mean, honestly, like one of my, how do I say this? But one of my like dream finds is like a jacket like this that would have Enron on it, right? Or an Enron hat. Ooh, I really want to have one of those because it's so historical and so neat. The story behind, you know, that company. But I would love to have some of that kind of stuff. But I certainly don't want to be paying any more than $1 for it because I'm a cheap little bastard. But I hope you guys, you know, think that this is cool because I think it's cool. It's cool enough to land on my video. Paul Irving says, who buys this stuff? Man, cool nerdy people buy this stuff. Mother's Mustache, oh yeah, members only. Hot, was it new and packaged? No, this is not new and packaged. This is used. Mother's Mustache, what's my age? Bonafide, I'm 37. I know about members only, but I never wore it back in the day or anything like that. Anyway, okay. So, nice jacket. Here's a little bit more recent find. Not recent find, but this is probably mid-2014 find. I say recent because I actually hustled one that looks like this recently, and so this is just a Woolrich And I will tell you the design because I know we got smart people on this feed. I know people can guess what the design and what the main keyword I used on this one was. But take a guess regardless. All right, so, pretty non-distracting background, pretty nice. I don't have a mannequin or anything like that, but I will mess with a really nice jacket if I find one. That's, I guess, casual, maybe. Usually when I mess with jackets, I like to mess with outdoors jackets. And yeah, I guess you could do outdoors, but this is more of just a casual get around the log cabin kind of thing, or show up to an event with. Ooh, we have the best item coming up after this. All right, so so Lucky says he looks like he's in his mid-20s. God, thank you so much for the compliment, man. That's so cool. Yeah, I'm actually 37. Okay, so clearing clutter for clarity says Aztec. You're right. You're right. It was Aztec. That was the actual lead keyword I used on this one. So very nice. Things like this. You know what? Let's take a look, because I know this was a $10 find. Let's see what this guy sold for. I'm going to my email real quick. Woolrich Aztec. The only thing is, like, a couple are going to come up, because I know I've sold a fair amount. Gosh, there's actually a good amount of these. So let me see which one it is. 2524. I think this is it. Let me make sure. Blanket coat jacket, size large, women's. Yeah, this is it. Okay, so this one sold for $55.24. It's not bad. It's pretty good. Solid little 30 bucks in my hand right there. Maybe a little less, maybe like 26 or so, but still, good hustle. Very important when you deal with wool-related stuff. Gosh, I gotta tell you, the most important thing. What do you guys think it is, real quick? Let's make this a two-way kind of show. What do you guys think the most important thing to look for when you're dealing with these jackets? Let's get active on this chat here, because we got some really smart people in here, right? We got some really smart people in the house. And by the way, we got 31 viewers, and I know people are going to be watching it later. But why don't we make sure that we get this while we're making the guess on the most important thing to do when you find a retro or a current day or a vintage Woolrich item or Pendleton. What's one of the most important things you have to do? All right, let me get this time to get this little green room commercial out of the way. It's 100 amazing items to resell. I'm telling you right now, every single weekend I'm finding stuff from this guide. And if you're wondering, how the hell do I get the guide? How much is it? Look, it's free. Go down below. There's a link. It says 100 amazing items. You can get this for free right now. Put it on your phone as a PDF and get smarter when it comes to garage sales and thrift stores and everything like that. This is what you need. We created this thing damn near 2 years ago, and I'm still finding things every single weekend from this guide. And I wrote not half, I wrote a quarter of it. So anyway, really good stuff in here. I want you guys to have it. Okay. So I'm curious. There we go. So yeah, clearing clutter for clarity. Very, very sharp person here. We hit it right on, what is it? Right on the nail, right on the head. Whatever that saying is, hit it right on the kneecap, which causes the knee to buckle. Remember that back in the day with your doctor? Okay, so this right here is it's a retro. I don't know if this is vintage, but it was a retro Woolrich blanket coat, right? They call it a blanket coat because it doesn't have any way of closing up, which maybe you didn't notice that. But these are some of the eBay pictures. These certainly aren't all of them, but it doesn't have any way of closing up. Now, clearing clutter for clarity is in the feed, and totally hit it on the kneecap, right? Which is no holes in the wool. So important. These little wool moth things are so, they will wreck everything that's wool. It doesn't matter if it's a rug or a jacket. You have to be super careful. That's why you see a lot of these jackets sometimes at estate sales being wrapped up in plastic, and they're kind of cinched up at the bottom because of wool moths, right? So the way you actually check this is you use your eyes. Clearly, yes, you have to use your eyes, but you also have to be able to bring it up to a light, okay? So when I was at a Goodwill buying this thing, I made sure to hang, kind of look through it. I basically opened the jacket up right here, and I put this part towards the fluorescent lights above, and light is what you need to see if there's any kind of holes anywhere in the jacket. So you need to shine light through and then look at it from the other side to see if any light penetrates. Now wool will be, light will penetrate in very, very small amounts because it's just wool, right? The stitching is not exactly very tight, as you can see, but a hole will show up in about 2 seconds anytime that you, if you ever find one. And I'm going to tell you right now, there is over a 50% chance that you will find a hole on a wool garment. So don't leave the store, don't leave the garage sale until you look for the hole. But if the garment is cool enough and it's like $1 or like it's so badass and it has a small hole, let's say around the cuff, right? A lot of the holes I ever see are like right here, or for some reason they're on the backside. I don't know why. But if it has a really small hole, you can buy and disclose and still make great money. But holes that are, you know, prominent, if you find one, you better be looking hard because there's typically 2, 3, 4 right behind it. So just make sure that you look at that kind of stuff. This one I scanned for damn near 5 minutes, maybe even more, because I was like, I'm challenging myself to find the hole here. That sounds really bad. But yeah, you know what I'm talking about. I'm challenging myself to find the moth holes, and I couldn't find any in this jacket. So that's what caused me to buy it right then and there for 10 bucks. Okay, so Kelly's saying, wow, I never would have thought of that, Chris. Thank you. You're welcome. Put wool clothes in the freezer for 48 hours to kill the larva. There you go. Gosh, that seems like so crazy to do all that kind of stuff. Yeah, Kelly's saying I hit the nail right on the head, LOL. Now we're going to use kneecap today. Okay, so I guess we are, I'm looking at all these comments. There's a lot of great comments in here. Here's one from JT. Steve, you're looking great with your new workout plan. I wonder who made that, Steve. Just kidding. Maybe it's that guy on the Bod Damn channel. Check him out. I heard he's pretty cool. Okay, so let's talk about the next one. Oh, man, this is going to be so cool. You guys ready? Who's ready for this next item? Because it's really good, actually. Who's ready? Someone's ready for this next item. You guys ready? Lucky, there's a question real quick. While everyone's saying that they're getting ready, Lucky has a question. What's your opinion about vintage Peugeot and Moto Pecan bicycles? Look, they're decent, right? But most vintage Peugeot, if you're in a good bike town, you want to pick up vintage steel frame bikes for like 20 or below and aim for $100 or higher. There's a couple models of vintage Peugeot that did relatively well. One is called a U08, and it's okay. You can get a resale of about 150 to 200 for a decent U08. And then one that's super rare called the PX10, which I still have to find. And it's like super, super hard to find, but it's a road bike that was like a little bit more racy. And the way you tell the difference, because it's awfully close to a PX10, is in the welds. So the way that the tubes butt up to each other, not welds, but the ways that the tubes butt up to each other, they're different. How do I say it? Anyway, yeah, it's different butted tubes. So really, really cool. I've yet to find a PX10, but just take a look at PX10 Peugeot. Of course, you're going to find all these other ones out there, the black one with all the stripes, the blue one with the stripes, and the Moto Pecanes. I think a Moto Pecane has lower resale than a Peugeot, honestly. But within these two, right, Peugeot, Moto Pecane, what's the other one that's really cool that has, is it Austro Daimler, I want to say? There's Hercules. There's so many different brands, but they all have that pinnacle bike, right? Even rally, like the Grand Prix, they all have this pinnacle model. So if you can find something close to that pinnacle model, which is kind of hard to find, you'll do extremely well. You find this middle grade stuff, which is all over the place. Yeah, in a good bike town, you're looking at between 1 and 3 usually. And then they have that mid-upper grade, which is where you'll find some of this like other stuff like Massey's and True Italian Steel, Campagnolo, all that kind of stuff. Bikes that were heavily endorsed by like super Italian brands. Then yeah. Okay. But yeah, that's for another show. What's up, Darren? Good to see you. Okay, who's ready? Victoria Smith is ready for this last item. You guys ready? This is going to be really, really good. So let's get to this last item. And while you're looking at it, I want you to guess the resale price of this one, okay? Because I know it down to a T and what it sold for. And if someone gets it, if someone hits it right on the kneecap, I'm going to be so impressed. But anyway, now I'm going to tell you right now, it didn't sell for like 500 or any crazy amount like that. But it did pretty well. So I bought it for $5, okay? So that's your first thing. I found it in a Goodwill. It was way in the back, just kind of swimming around with the remote controls. Like of all places, it was swimming around with a remote control bin, right? Crazy. And I was like, okay, well, surely something's totally effed up on this one. I didn't have the batteries to test it at the time, but then again, I already knew even in broken stages, this thing was worth way more than like $30, $40. So, and I was like, okay, this antenna is gonna be bent, blah, blah, blah. It wasn't bent at all. It was like super awesome. So what is this, first of all? What is it? It's very, very, very kind of interesting. And there's a word. that I'm looking for. And I guess it's, you know, some dorky kind of people would know exactly. I'm definitely a dorky kind of person. My dad messed with these back in the day, and he had really, really awesome ones, actually. This is considered a portable one. But Jerry T is saying it's a weather radio. While it does have, I believe, some weather capabilities on it, it's actually not a weather radio. But it's much better than a radio. So Ben H is guessing 80. So it's higher than that, and Victoria Smith is guessing 200, and it's lower than that. Clearing Clutter for Clarity says not a clue, maybe 126. So it's higher than that. Stephen Frederick says a scanner. You know, this can do scanning type things, but it's not a scanner. It's actually something different than that. So Frankie Valley says 150, and it's actually north of that. Mother's Mustache says a decoder. It's not really a decoder, and it's not really an EQ, although it kind of looks like an EQ. 155, it's higher than that. So this is a shortwave radio, which is interesting because you can see all kinds of like, how do I say it? But yeah, you can see all kinds of, sorry, I'm like looking at all the kind of stuff here, FM, blah, 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 shortwave. But you can tune into things from all over the country and sometimes the world on a shortwave radio. And these are just pictures showing that it works. And I mean, I love looking at this kind of stuff because I totally dorked out on this stuff back in the day when I was younger, and my dad would take me to electronic stores. I'd always be looking at this kind of stuff and like, wow, that's basically what dad uses, except it's really small. And this kind of crap was super expensive back in the day. So it sold for $169.99, all right? And look how small this thing is. Well, maybe you can't tell, but this thing is about the size of an iPhone 6 Plus. I mean, it's so small. And it is really, really cool to find it in this condition, like unscratched. And I mean, to me, it's a beautiful piece. Now, to some other people, they might be like, this is dumb. But I think it's really beautiful. You know, they take all this technology that some of these big ass shortwave radios that you see people with, like, you know, the microphones that are they're talking to different countries. And my dad was like talking to people in Saudi Arabia and stuff. And we're sitting there in Houston, Texas, and he's like, let's talk to my friend in Saudi Arabia, you know. And so that's what he would do. And then he would be like, you want to see some world time? The official time is right here. And he'd tune to some station. And the funny thing is, when I actually hustled this thing, I tried to find some of those stations again. Now, my parents are still living, right? But I did find the world clock station, which was pretty cool. I couldn't find any Saudi Arabian people, much less the person that my dad talked to. But this is something just to listen to what's out there, all right? When you want to communicate with things, then you need a little bit different of a thing. But this one, see, it says shortwave right there, SW. This is what you would use to just listen to everything. But the best part of shortwave really is actually the other part, which is the communicating part. So, and I'll tell you, sometimes if the person in the other country doesn't know English, then yeah, you're not really exactly communicating very effectively. But yeah, I think it's a beauty too, Jerry T. Did I put it up as auction? No. This is the kind of stuff that needs to go buy now, because you mess with auction, yeah, it probably would have sold for like $129.99. How old? That's a great question. It's an ICF. Someone look it up real quick. It's an ICF 7700. In fact, I can probably do that really quickly, but I chance probably blowing up this entire show. But I'll do it real quick. It's an ICF 7700. Let's take a look. My first guess is going to be like 2001. But, you know, never know. Let's see. ICF 7700 shortwave radio, universal radio, blah, blah, blah. Here it is. Oh, wait, no, I think I saw it. Okay, so I was kind of close. It's discontinued. Clearly, it's discontinued. Here we go. Okay, yeah, it's a build is 1987 to 1989. So I was actually guessing early 90s. And yeah, so this thing is way badass. I don't know if you guys understand, like, for something like this to survive in a remote control bin, I mean, through sorting in a Goodwill facility and not get all effed up and not almost have a scratch on it, that's pretty hard to do. So when someone sees this on eBay, they're like, okay, that's it. Like buying, you know, that's just what they do. And when you have something this kind of rare, I mean, you almost can dictate the price. And I believe I did try for 200 or even 249. I might have had an offer on it. Let me take a look real quick in my email. See how this thing actually did sell. Funny thing is I put shortwave in my email. And it's hard to find shortwave stuff. I've only found 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 shortwave things in my entire hustling career. So that's pretty interesting, right? Maybe 5, actually. There's a 5th one. So yeah, it's not exactly super easy to find, but that's the whole point of this show, is to educate you guys that way. If you come across it and you have a better market than I do to find it, then you can make some money on Bonafide Hustler's behalf. Instant payment received. This went to Connecticut, I want to say. Yeah, so this is some probably military dude bought it or something. Some guy named Roberto, $169.99. I don't know if it was, let me just see if this was an offer or not. For some reason, I think it was an offer for some reason. Oh no, never mind. Oh, I have a message. Would you be willing to part with your radio for 170 bucks thereabouts? Please let me know. Cheers. So yeah, clearly, oh yeah, it was at 200 bucks, like I was saying. So I must have just replied with an offer or something like that, changed the price to $169.99, and the guy bought it immediately. So that's what it was. It was actually 200 bucks. And now we have the story of how it's sold. So, you know, and the person's handle, by the way, the person that was like asking that question was like, their handle was something like KHZ. See how this number is here? It was like 6,040 something KHZ. So this person was like totally dorking out into shortwave, and his eBay handle was actually a shortwave like little destination thing or frequency, I guess. So, you know, I hope you guys enjoyed the show. That's pretty much it from the Bonafide Hustler behalf. I actually got to go hustle something in the parking lot of a grocery store that I found on Craigslist the other day, and it's brand new in a box. It's going to pay me like, let's see, I'm going to get by it for 40 bucks, and there's no Amazon FBA sellers, so I'm going to probably list it for like, I don't know, 2 to 250, thus yielding Bonafide Hustler somewhere around 150 or more after fees. So that's good. Not a single FBA seller on a 9,000 office products ranked item. Yeah, it's gonna be sick. So gonna have to pick that up soon. It's good to see everyone. Let me go back in the comments and see what everyone's saying. But I hope you enjoyed the show. You know, I do these shows because it's fun, right? The show does pay me. I ain't gonna lie, right? It pays me to teach. I've always wanted to do that. When I was proficient in hustling, 4 years into the game, 5 years into the game, I was like, man, I want to be so sweet to just teach it and to teach the stream of making money to other people across the world, across the country. And that's what we're doing now. We have the Green Room University, right? Do these shows, getting paid to do a show, which is cool, by YouTube. And it's fun. It's just a lot of fun because I get to reminisce about these really amazing hustles and fun stuff. And I'm so thankful that I kept all my pictures and all that kind of stuff. And I tell you guys out there, if you're proficient in something, doesn't matter what it is, right? And you got a bunch of pictures of this stuff. We're talking about hustling basically at this point. Everyone that watches this video is probably a reseller. And if you're passionate about something and you're really good at hustling, start a YouTube channel, like seriously, and like get your pictures together and start making shows like this. It takes no time. Well, it takes an hour, but you know, it's fun. I'm talking about stuff that I love to do. And it's really no sweat off my, it's no sweat off my back. I like doing it, and I like helping people. I mean, who doesn't? And so it's just a video that'll end up in my kind of lineup, and I'll make it into a playlist one day, and it'll forever, you know, not only be of help to other people, but it'll forever pay me as well, which is cool. So I hope you guys enjoyed the show. It's good to see everyone. Jerry T, I just subscribed to this, my first live catch. Cool. Well, that's weird. Like, I could have sworn you were just a loyal subscriber because as much as you were talking, that's really cool. Thank you, Bonafide. That's from Kelly. You're totally welcome. Mother's Mustache, your shows are always great. Thank you. You're welcome. Then H, everyone's welcome. Everyone's welcome. Lucky, that's right. Someone call the police because we're gonna kill it. That's a Bonafide hustler. That's something. Or what I like to say is someone call the police because I just killed it. Right. So that's the one. But I like that one. Someone call the police because we're gonna kill it. This is a Bonafide hustler quote. Hey, either one sounds good to me. And there's one on eBay. Oh, so this is the last remark real quick. But Jerry T says there's one on eBay now. Bidding is at 53 bucks. It's a 7600A shortwave. So yeah, you know, I gotta tell you, I am always on the hunt for shortwave radio stuff. Like always, like I dork out because I'm like, when I find it, it's gonna be so awesome. And my best shortwave flip has been the one that you saw on the film or on the movie here, on the video here. And it just got me so excited that maybe it's just because of my father teaching me about shortwave back in the day and all this stuff and how neat it is. And when I find one, and it's such a relic. I mean, it gets me really, really excited for what I do, like, which is in the resale game. Like, I love doing this. And when you love doing something, it's almost like a Christmas morning every time you go out, because you just don't know what you're going to get, but you're likely to get something. And every now and then the tree has no presents under it, right? But for the most part, it's really, really, really fun. So I hope you guys, share that type of passion, as do I. And I hope you guys look forward to the next show, because in the next one we might do a shoe special or something really cool. Because I got a whole bunch of shoe pictures. I'm telling you, like, most people just don't know that Bonafide Hustler hustles or has hustled a ton of shoes. So I would love to make a video about that, teach you guys a little bit of something about active shoe wear. Although if you watch my videos, you get a lot of hints from that. But when you see all the pictures together, I mean, it makes more sense. So when's the next show, Chris? It could even be as soon as tomorrow. It just depends. Like, if you guys hit the like button, I'm telling you, I look at the analytics later, and I know what kind of shows do well for me, and I know what kind of shows the people are watching. So if you hit the like button, all right, I see that kind of stuff. And, I only do what I know is going to do well on my channel. It makes sense. But I'm always experimenting too. Gosh, why is my cat pulling on my ring? What are you doing? Dude, I'll pet you in 1 second. So that's pretty much the show. It's good to see everyone. And I do have to edit a ride-along today, but it's going to be private for the green room. But I will be filming this weekend like a freaking furious little, what do you call that guy? Tasmanian devil. Yeah. So not only is the Tasmanian devil super furious already, but I'm going to be going crazy with filming this weekend. It's going to be amazing. So next show, Lucky, is likely to be tomorrow, and one on Friday as well. I like doing the live shows. And that's it. I guess I'll see you guys later. Smash that like button. Show the love. That's what Kelly said, and I completely agree with it. Take it easy, guys. Bye.